loves you and I love you too.
God loves you and I love you too.
Feel the love and the unity.
Feel the love and the unity.
Lift your voice, repeat after me. We come together.
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 In the name of love. We come together.
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 In the name of love. Take a look at the person next to you.
Look at the person next to you.
Say, I recognize God in you.
Recognize God in you.
Feel the love and the unity.
Feel the love and unity.
Lift your voice, repeat after me. We come together.
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 In the name of love. We come together.
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 In the name of love. Everyone's life. Every creed and color. Kinship unite. In honor of God and each other. Take a look at the person next to you. Say, namaste, I bow to you. Feel the love and the unity. Lift your voice, repeat after me. We come together.
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 In the name of love. We come together.
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 In the name of love. In the name of love.
All right. Woo, we come together in the name of love. Welcome, everyone, here in the sanctuary. And all you watching online, you are most welcome. Good to have you here with us this morning. Look who's back in town. Reverend Nancy Woods is back from North Carolina. So we're happy to have her here today. And we're happy to have you here today. Of course, we welcome here at the Center for Spiritual Living in Granada Hills, California, where we welcome all who practice their beliefs in faith and love. And so let's start. What's going on? There's a thing going on. Whose? Oh. Is it on now? Okay. Half measures availed as nothing. That the switch was only half on. So, we should just have a talk about that today. All right. So let's just start by taking a deep, conscious breath and release, and just allowing ourselves to surrender to this eternal now moment as we come together for our call to service, which we call lighting the flames of faith. And we perform this ceremony to promote the universal consciousness of life, which acknowledges that all peoples, all faiths, all sentient beings come from the one great universal presence, which we call Spirit. And fundamental to this truth is the unifying nature of all religious thought and experience, which we honor here this morning. So as Reverend Nancy lights the first candle, it is for the Tao, honoring the universal path of harmony and equilibrium, the natural way. We light the second candle for shamanic traditions, honoring the beliefs and practices of all indigenous peoples, the way of primal spirituality. We light the third candle for Hinduism, honoring the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. We light the fourth candle for Judaism, honoring the ethical path of living by sacred law. The fifth candle we light for all forms of Buddhism, honoring the Four Noble Truths and the path of compassion. The sixth candle we light for all forms of Christianity, honoring the Christ consciousness as the path of love. The seventh candle we light for all forms of Islam, honoring the path of submission to the will of God as the highest calling. The eighth candle we light for the universalistic religion of Baha'i, honoring the path of unity and peace. The ninth candle we light for all forms of New Thought, honoring the metaphysical path of mental healing through the practice of universal spiritual principles. And the 10th candle we light for all those who are as yet unaware of the power and presence of Spirit in their lives, and for the space we hold for them here at our center, within our online community, and within our own hearts. And as Reverend Nancy lights a healing candle, please put silently into the light the names of anyone you wish to have experience the healing flame of God's eternal love.
There is one flame that burns in our hearts. There is one light that shines through our love. We light this flame with faith. We light this flame with faith. We find this light within our own souls. There is one flame, one light within.
It is in recognition of this light within that I express my heart's feeling of knowing and understanding that the divine truth of life is what we are here to share and to understand. That as we open our hearts and our minds to this awareness, there springs forth a greater understanding, a greater appreciation, a greater expression of the beauty, the joy, and the wonders of this presence. As we realize that this presence has chosen each one of us to be its way into, to manifest life anew. We rejoice in understanding and expressing our appreciation to know that this is true. To know that our lives are always at that place of beginning anew. Knowing that we are gifted with the understanding and awareness that the Spirit of life is empowering us, as us, and through us, and for us, that we may be a light unto the world. So it's with joy, it is with appreciation, true gratefulness, that I not only recognize its truth, but I embrace it and allow it to flow forth through the law of being. And it is with this love and acceptance, I welcome each person to join me in these words of truth, this idea that Spirit is truly all that there is. And we say, thank you. Thank you. And so it is. It's good to be back. It's good to be able to stand here and experience being in the divine presence of all these beautiful souls that are joining me today for the service. And to enjoy the opportunity to share my understanding and awareness and experience of the spiritual journey of life. I had this concept of faith that I wanted to share. Then I read this thing by Holmes, and I said, oh, I like this better. So I'm going to read a little bit of it, because Spirit spoke to Holmes in such a beautiful way. So he says, today we are cultivating our garden. We are pulling up the weeds of uncertainty and carefully nurturing our thoughts of faith and confidence in this thing called life, in the power greater than we are, in God, the living Spirit, not some mighty, but almighty. Let us take as the thought for our meditation today. Let us not be weary in well-doing, for in due season we shall reap if we faint not. As we carry this simple thought back into our minds, we are lifting up our whole thought to the sunshine and rain from heaven. We are knowing that a power greater than we are is seeing to it that the seeds of expectancy are sprouting in the gardens of our desires. I cherish the way the words that he puts together, because when I realized that the faith that he had in this power is being demonstrated by all the lives that are being touched by it today. And we had many teachers that stepped into this depth of faith so strongly that they are able to not only reach people in their times, but they're still touching hearts. And true faith does that. True faith is experiencing life at a place where you, no matter what you're experiencing or what you're going through, you know that you're going to always be all right. And I realized in this experience that we are going through now, and some of the things that I experienced while I was in North Carolina, and I realized that nugget of knowing and understanding that the spirit of life is forever, and that's who and what I am, and that I am springing forth from that presence, and that each and everything that I bring forth into expression, no matter how many times I step off of this path, I am always on that journey to a greater expression of being spirit in expression. I can't not be, because of who and what I am. And I've begun to understand that as I know this about myself, that I have faith that the people out there, the ones that I was kind of feeling ants about and kind of in disagreement with, they're on this path too. And no matter how they are doing it, I have faith that the divine presence will always win out. Because, when you realize that 2,000 years later, you're still expressing this truth, those things that were falling off the path, they're gone away. But that truth path is still being recognized and honored. And that, to me, is a really deep, powerful expression of what faith in the divine and the truth that it is always the ultimate thing that would persevere. It is always that which is waiting for us to just recognize it. That's all. It's never a time, a place, or any situation where it is not awaiting our recognition just to step in to our good. And that's for everybody. Everybody can do this. And I am so grateful to understand and appreciate this. And I'm also so grateful to be back in y'all's company. And thank you for letting me share that.
I am not the things my family did. I am not the voices in my head. I am not the pieces of the brokenness inside. I am light. 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 I'm not the mistakes that I've made, or any of the things that cause me pain. I am not the pieces of the dream I left behind. I am light. 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 I am I am not the color of my eyes. I am not the skin on the outside. I am not my age. I am not my race. My soul inside. I am light. I am light. I'm light. I Thank you. That was for you, Reverend Nancy. I picked
Oh,
that one out for you.
gorgeous. Oh, I love that. Oh, I mean, what a powerful message.
That's a
Ah,
That's by
and there's a
India.
lot of people out there that need to hear that.
Yeah,
They
that's
need to
by,
know that.
India Ari.
Ooh, very good, very good. Beautiful. And that music was just, and you are a light. You're just beautiful lights. So let's declare the principles that we follow through here. As we recognize that we believe in one universal spirit manifesting through all, natural and incarnated in us. We believe that the universal spirit is personal too and reveals itself through everyone who recognizes its presence. We believe our faith operates upon a law of mind, which automatically in our experience according to that faith. We believe in the unity of all life, in the immortality of the individual soul, forever expanding. We believe in the eternal goodness, the eternal loving kindness, and the giveness of life to all.
2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, heaven's inside of me. Yes, heaven's inside of me. Oh, a spirit and nature within and without. Now that I know that God's right here, right now. Oh, heaven's inside of me. Well, heaven's inside of you. Yes, heaven's inside of you. Oh, a spirit and nature within and without. Now that we know that God's right here, right now. Oh, heaven's inside of you. Yes, heaven's inside of us. Yes, heaven's inside of us. Oh, a spirit and nature within and without. Now that we know that God's right here, right now. Oh, heaven's inside of us. Yes, heaven's inside of us. Yes, heaven's inside of us. Oh, a spirit and nature within and without. Now that we know that God's right here, right now. Oh, heaven's inside of us. Oh, heaven's inside of us. Oh, heaven's inside of us. Yes, heaven's inside of us.
Very nice. So, did you hear that? Yeah, surprise. Welcome back. He wrote that just for you, too.
A long time ago, I did.
Yeah, good song. Nice job, folks. So, welcome back. My name's Reverend, or I guess I'm welcome me back. You've already been here. So in case you're just joining us, my name's Reverend Michael McMorrow. I am the senior minister here, and it's nice to have you here. I just wanted to point out that a couple quick things. So on Wednesday evening, when we usually have a meditation service at 7, we're actually moving that way up to 5 o'clock so that folks on the East Coast can join us for our Samhain, kind of a Celtic, it is a Celtic remembrance ritual for those who have made their transition this year or any year. So if you want to have Reverend Jeannie add their name to that book of life, so you can send those names to me, Reverend Mike at cslgh.org. And also I wanted to point out, because we do have a need in our community presently for bereavement support. I know some folks are working through some stuff. This is the day, and that is at 3 p.m., and that will be in the announcements, which will scroll at the end of the service. So look for that. You'll get the Zoom contact. It starts at 3. So you can do that in the safety and security of your own home. And I would just add, whatever it is you're going through, you don't have to be alone, right? And that part of spiritual community is about sharing that burden with you, right? As well as sharing your triumphs. So, all right, so let's, where are we? October, this is our last Sunday in October. We've been exploring cosmic connections. We've spent the last 3 Sundays exploring this idea. And so I just wanted to share this with you from the focus ministers of Reverend Donna Smith and Reverend Ann Thacker, where they wrote that knowing that we are each a reflection of the infinite self, that we are a reflection of the infinite self, we can move towards an understanding that everyone around us reflects ourselves. Yeah, so we looked at that. And the talk title for that week 1 was Just Like Me, where we looked at and remembered that everyone is doing the best they can one day at a time, sometimes one moment at a time. And one of those moments may look, from time to time, they may look like epic fails, and that this is the challenge of this human life. This is the challenge of living a human life that is in the process of awakening. And with any seeming failures, then, are lessons that become building blocks for our best life now. For the stone the builder has rejected has become the cornerstone of that new expanded life, filled with creativity and love as the divine expressing in form through human experience, through form as your experience and as mine. So that in this way, we are all called together to experience this thing called life. Some a bit more gracefully at times than others, just like me. The same benefit of the doubt that we afford to others, we need to extend to ourselves as well. If our goal is to allow a life of wholeness and balance to express itself as our life, for we cannot give away something we haven't got. In this way, we learn the second week's talk title, that we are inextricably connected, where the inner work we do within ourselves affects the whole world, and the work that the world is doing affects us. We also explored how spiritual teachers through time have called us to this sacred connection to the divine by recognizing or learning to recognize the divine in each other, and how the bar has been raised for each of us through the teachings of Siddhartha and Jesus. So we went into that into some detail. And when we acknowledge this connection of the divine through each other, we are in that. This places us firmly into the field of infinite possibilities for good. That field of infinite possibilities for good, that of the Spirit and our connection to it, which is always there, right? That it is through the bridge over troubled waters, of where through acts of forgiveness we take a deeper dive into realms of the sacred that can only be reached through the crucible of forgiveness that really burns away old thought patterns, old thought forms of resentment and anger and hurt that no longer serve us. And so in this weird dance with the other, as we practice forgiveness with the other, we can practice forgiveness with ourselves. And as we learn to forgive ourselves, we can forgive the other. That this bridge of troubled water then is the portal to the bliss state. That is the unspoken promise of being inextricably connected. Each to spirit, the spirit as one, each cleaved to the other, expressing as the one life, the life of God as we understand it to be. The spirit, the other, you as one thing. Which brings us to where at last, for this last week, where the CSL Chaplains Committee have asked us to consider this. Bridges that last. Bridges that last. So think of the world's oldest bridges. What makes them last through the test of time? A good foundation, the right materials, an engineer inspired to build something that will last for centuries. The same thing can be said for building lasting, heartfelt, and healthy relationships. That building bridges building bridges that last is the process of creating sustainable, collaborative community partnerships. That building a bridge for a world that works for everyone. So when we think of bridges, you may, like me, think about this bridge, or one of the gems of our golden state of California, the Golden Gate Bridge, spanning. So the Golden Gate, by the way, spans the Golden Gate Strait. I did not know this. And that the Golden Gate Strait takes you from the ocean to San Francisco Bay. So aren't you glad? See, you learn all kinds of things here on Sunday. And if we think for a moment on what bridges do rather than what they are, I think it helpful to consider what the world would be like. What would the world be like without bridges? So, here's a few thoughts on that. Because I think that a bridge really is one of the huge transformational inventions in modern history. So, all of civilization sprung up around rivers. And not only because it provided not only access to fresh water, that rivers like the Nile River, we learned when we were kids, also provided fresh nutrients in the spring for agriculture. That the river provided transportation for goods during normal flow times. That rivers then grow to be arteries of commerce and also mobility. Rivers also provided a natural boundary, maybe even a measure of security. A bridge became a potential point, could also become a potential point of invasion, which had its own consequences, but ultimately this also led to a point of commerce and trade at each side of that bridge, so that a place of conflict or of potential conflict became one of building culture and even camaraderie and ultimately peace between the two shores of the one river. Now, in modern times, bridges are built over a different kind of artery, that of roads and freeways. So one need only navigate a 3-lane roundabout in Ireland to really appreciate a bridge. Or be in an ambulance, where the train tracks have no bridge and you're in the ambulance waiting as those valuable moments tick by to get to the emergency room. This is one of the first reasons that communities build bridges, in fact, which is, I'm sure, why the railroad bridge at Parthenia was probably built before they had hospitals on the other side, way back when, because all the development was south of the railroad. So bridges are important. They serve useful functions that we often do not give consideration to. So what other kind of bridges are there? Right? Knowledge. Knowledge can be a bridge. Knowledge is a bridge from one generation to the next. So what about religion? Is religion a bridge? Well, I think yes, I think it is. What about spirituality? Is spirituality a bridge? Is religion a bridge? Is spirituality a bridge? Or could it be that spirituality is the destination that religion builds that bridge to? That religion attempts to bridge this human experience that we have on this earth plane to the spirit. Particularly if we understand that they are two separate realms, that there is a boundary that must be crossed to be through religion to access the divine. Now, there are many beautiful examples through thousands of cultures spanning thousands of centuries to illustrate this idea. So like any good bridge, most, though not all of these religions have stood the test of time. Now, some ancient religions have served as bridges that then evolved into something greater, that have this beginning religion, this more ancient religion, as the root of its expression. In the same way that the heavy Gothic stone bridge that we saw a few weeks ago, that it is the precursor to this suspension bridge. But they all have one thing in common, that without a solid foundation, a bridge cannot stand. So the other thing is that it takes people to build them. So this guy's in can you imagine being so broke you had to do this for a living, right? So this is an Italian fella. He ended up working on the bridge later, but this was in the mid-30s during the Depression. This was a WPA project that linked San Francisco to Marin County. And so here is a beautiful example of the suspension bridge, but you see all this in here on this side, and if you would see similar structures on the other, that this is the anchor for these cables which are holding the whole thing up. Right? But just like that one guy hanging on to the cable, right? Each one of what's making up those large cables are strands of smaller wires that together hold the whole structure of the bridge. So this is a beautiful metaphor of all kinds of things, of, society, but also of spiritual community. That each one of these strands is our own unique contribution, not only to spiritual community, but to the world itself, right? And that we are stronger as one, and that we can suspend anything, right? With a good, solid foundation and working together in a coordinated way. So whether it's religion whether it's a bridge, you need a solid foundation. So Greek mythology influenced ideas of democracy, for instance, which then influenced Rome. And so that democracy morphed into more of a republic. But both had ethics and laws contained therein that were informed by relationships with the divine as they understood it to be in those times. In the Abrahamic traditions, reaching back to Abraham and even the stories beyond that, before Abraham, we have the ethics of these three of Judaism, of Christianity, and Islam, which have within them the ethics of the Ten Commandments, right? That the Vedic traditions from India have influenced not only Hinduism and Buddhism, but there are scholars who argue that that the Vedic traditions through Hinduism also influenced some early Christian thought as well. Now, they have ways of figuring this out linguistically. It's a relatively new science. But it is interesting how it does appear that one bridges the other. So these are just a few examples. All are bridges to something greater than the religion by itself. All are something greater than the religion itself. All point to the divine presence, which we can have, all of us can have, a unique experience that is all our own, and yet at the same time be joined in ways of brotherhood, of compassion, empathy, mutual respect, and contained within that, those various strands, then becoming that cable anchored in transcendent truths, the potential of unconditional love for each other, which is the great promise. This is the great promise of all religions. So then maybe spirituality then is the next shore that religion bridges us to. From this experience to the next, that spirituality is the next shore, the undiscovered country that we step onto when we have made the journey from the realm of this dream state that we think is so real, and yet all of it is just a projection of our own unhealed and healed stuff in ways that we know about, but often many, many ways that we do not know. Right? And we've been learning about this lately with this whole idea of implicit bias. But that goes so far beyond race. Race is just scratching the surface of implicit bias. That there is a greater reality beyond this dream state that we co-create with each other, that we can access. And I think this is what spirituality is, right? We awaken to the idea that God is right where we are. We consider the notion that the infinite spirit is expressing in, through, and as all of life. That we step into the idea that life is consciousness. A way of life that has behind it a spiritual reality longing to express itself and experience itself as the life of its creation. That would be you and me and everything else. Spirit expressing as form through, in, and as man. That we co-create life in this finite plane, backed by the infinite source of all life and love. And like any good foundation, we have to drill down through the debris of old thought, of hardship, or even pain to build upon the bedrock of the divine that is under all. And Ken's song today explained that nicely. And that the substance of this foundation contains all of the ancient scriptures, all of the prayers, all the spiritual mind treatment as divine law. It anchors all of life tied to the nature of its own being, which is infinite. So that in this way, here's the thing to take away today, that in this way then, everything is sacred. Another one of my favorite songs that Ken does is that song, Everything is Holy Now. Everything is sacred. All of life then is holy. We are both the blessing, the blessed, and the blessers. That we, in this way, and I don't mean this in an egotistical way, but in the highest way of thinking possible, that we are the high priest of our own experience, expressing as this one life. That we acknowledge that this one power and presence is Lord of all and is the law of life, and that we are a drop in the vast ocean of consciousness. So Holmes says that no greater good can come to us than to know that the power already within us is the power to live, the power to create. Not only to create for ourselves, but for others. The power to do good, the power to heal, the power to prosper. That you are to realize that the power within you is, in fact, divine authority. It is a dispenser of the divine gifts. It is a giver of life, of joy. It proclaims the kingdom of heaven and the harmony of the soul and the unity of all being. So, and how do we do this? We do this by paying attention to what it is that we are thinking, for our thinking contains within it the form through which the divine substance pours itself into and makes itself known in our life. This is why we do spiritual mind treatment, to get our thinking straight, to create that form so that the Spirit can come in and express itself in, through, and as our life, so that we too can do great things and more, and to do them with confidence, knowing that every time we choose to, we step into a divine authority that is encouraging us through the demonstration of its infinite power and presence to do even more. So let's call the musicians forward to do even more, and I would just say to use this Sunday, use this week to see and to explore and to consider the ways that we can make things holy. That we can acknowledge the sacred expressing. Because the truth is that this is the reality of life. The reality of existence. That all is an emanation making itself known as the living intelligence, impressing and expressing itself as this manifest life. And so today in this moment, we consider the ways that we are one with this presence, that we invite this infinite power to pull out of us those divine ideas that up until now may have laid in wait of our recognition of it. that we allow ourselves to be still and to create avenues, rivers of good for which this prosperous expression of life can make itself known from the invisible to the visible. That we live in the overflow of life and know that there is plenty and enough to share. So consider these things today and how to take them into the week to come. And we'll see what comes up for you. And we'll see you next week.
One, two, 1, 2, 3, 4. May the long time sun shine upon you. All love surround you, and the pure light within you guide your way on. Guide your way on. May the long time sun shine upon you. Oh Lord, surround you, and the pure light within you guide your way home. Guide your way home. Guide your way on. Yeah, yeah, yeah. May the long time sun shine upon you. All love surround you, and the pure light within you guide your way on. your way home, your way home. Long time, son. Long time, son. The sun is up, the sky is blue, it's beautiful, and so are you. The sun is up, the sky is blue, it's beautiful, and so are you. Long time, son. Long time, son. Long time, son.
Well, that deserves a virtual applause. Yes, everybody. Nicely done. Beautiful. Thank you, Ken.
You're welcome.
And you too, Jason.
You're welcome.
That was beautiful. Oh, I can take off my mask. Who is that masked minister? Yeah. It's really Pope Francis. No? Okay. All right, so time to practice a little generosity. And so if this is your first time visiting us, this is what our screenshot of our website. You can find the donate button, which will take you to our PayPal portal, which looks like this. So you can use a debit card or a credit card. If you have a PayPal account, you know how that works. Or you can scroll on your phone till you get down to this page. It takes about 4 or 5 swipes. It'll take you to the donate button. Takes you to the same portal. Simple. Or you can use this PayPal portal right here on our YouTube page, if that's where you're currently watching us. And so you can access that same PayPal portal from this little spot right here. Or you can also donate on our Facebook page. So however it gets here, just know that we're very grateful for it. You can continue to mail in your donations, or if you are a new person and would like to mail in a donation, here is our address. You can also find that on our website. The easiest way really is to use PayPal. When you're doing your bills, you can set it up as a preset on any kind of frequency that you like, and then it's mailed to us. It looks just like this. I don't want to show you the account number, but it looks just like that. And it comes in the mail, just like if you were to mail it, only it's so convenient. You just click and point and off it goes. And of course, I'm still flogging the book. So, all right, so Ken and Jason are going to take us into our offering song. So you have time to make that donation. And join us in this offering song.
Spirit gives through me, Spirit receives through me, Spirit lives and breathes through me, Spirit lives and breathes through me, Spirit lives through you, Spirit receives through you, Spirit lives and breathes through you. Spirit lives and breathes through you. Spirit gives lives and breathes through homes. Yeah.
So going within for a moment longer, let's just take a deep breath together. Anchoring one more time into that awareness that there is but one power, one presence, one source, one life, expressing itself in through the consciousness of each one here, knowing that God is our source, our substance, our supply. So as demonstrated by the gifts here presented here in the basket this morning, or through online giving, or any avenues of good that we're receptive to all of it, we, representing this spiritual community, accept these gifts with deep respect, love, and appreciation, as we know together that goes forth to heal, to prosper, and to bless not only the vision and mission of this physical center, but anyone connected to our center in any way, both physical and virtual. That we extend this blessing to our friends in our community of Granada Hills, our city of Los Angeles, our United States of America, all of its churches, temples, mosques, schools, universities, the people who attend them, the people who support them, including our parents, that for the planet as well, that we know all of it is an emanation from the divine itself, and to the extent that we attune ourselves to that divine song, we see it demonstrating in all ways, great and small. We do what we are called to do, and let the Spirit handle the rest. And together we know this with grateful and joyful hearts by saying, and so it is. Amen. So thank you for joining us this morning. Stick around one more little bit and get one of Reverend Nancy's wonderful treatments that take you into the week. Thank you for joining us. Let's thank Ken and Jason Goldstein one more time for their music contribution this morning. And in the back, give a shout out to Evan and Mike, who are taking care of both our sound and video. We're grateful for you, and we're grateful to have all of you out there. So have a great week. We'll see you.
So we can rejoice as we recognize that we have spent this time together to enrich and expand our understanding and appreciation of the divine presence as it unfolds and manifests itself as each one of us. Knowing that that which has come forth comes forth to lift, to support, and to nurture. And in this consciousness of knowing that this is our experience, we know that there is a bridge of connection between each and every one of us. And that's the bridge of love. Love for life, love for each other, and love for the spiritual presence that is within us all. So as we express our appreciation and embrace this idea that this bridge is always present, we know that we are not alone, that we are forever supported and nurtured. And we are a light unto this universe. Oh, what a great truth for each and every one of us. And in appreciation for this truth and this understanding, this awareness, we let that presence within us express our gratitude and our love in such a way that it touches each and every soul in our experience. And we join together in accepting this as our wondrous truth of being, as we say together, and so it is.
Please join us in singing the peace song. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.